Good evening. Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. Tonight you're with me, Rungtip Chonapalai. Today's cabinet did not approve NASA's study based on regional climate change at U-Tapao Airport due to criticism from the opposition that NASA equipment may be used for the observation of neighboring countries as well. The approval process potentially providing an opportunity to pressure the U.S. to grant a U.S. visa to fugitive former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. The government believes that this whole issue should be explained to the public in the next parliamentary meeting. Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has assigned the foreign minister to explain to the U.S. agency NASA that Thailand cannot grant permission to set up a study based on climate change conditions and a disaster relief center at U-Tapao Airport in Rayong province this year. Today's cabinet meeting agreed that the NASA's project should be explained in detail to the public in the next parliamentary meeting in August. The opposition is claiming that NASA's activities might affect relationship with neighboring countries and its equipment could be used for the observation of other countries and that the government would take advantage of this project to bargain for a U.S. visa for fugitive former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. The PM believes that the U.S. will understand Thailand's reasons and said that once this issue has been considered by the parliament, she will consult with the related departments again as to whether NASA can be granted permission for the project. Meanwhile, Anand Sinitwong Ayuthaya, director of Gistda, indicated that Thai researchers who are jointly working with NASA are confident that NASA's project is not related to any U.S. military activity. He also believes that Thailand will lose the benefit of developing data on climate change and natural disasters, adding that government must explain to the international science community that it does not mean that Thailand is not supporting NASA's project, but just had to explain the details to the Thai people first. On a related subject, everyone is wondering if there will be another flood this year, which areas will be hardest hit, and how effective the government's effort at water management will be. Earlier, I spoke with the chairman of the Executive Board of the Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency, or Gistda, who said that key factor in providing answer is a reliable flood and landslide model currently being jointly developed by the Thai scientists and the U.S. Space Agency, NASA. Associate Professor Somjet Thinapong, the chairman of the Executive Board of Gistda, pointed out that the prediction of monsoon rainfall shows that flood-prone areas cover the 5 provinces of Ayutthaya, Lopburi, Singboori, Chainat, and Nakhon Pathom, while the capital, Bangkok, and its suburbs, namely Nonthaburi, Pathum Thani, and Samut Prakan, have tendency to handle the situation effectively due to the government's comprehensive water resource management.
When there be heavy rainfall certain period during this monsoon, so sensitive area are still there for 5 provinces, assuming that the cyclone, the typhoon, fall in the north. Wherever typhoon or heavy tropical rainfall occurs up north, then of course you have a downstream effect. So Ayutthaya is still sensitive, but as trade-off, Bangkok no more. Why? Because of management.
Not in Bangkok, but Ayutthaya area and also central part of Thailand.
It's just a matter of overbank flow condition, you see.
Gistda has been working with NASA under the joint statement of intent to contribute Thailand's better understanding of earth science and its application for social benefit, including the development of a reliable flood and landslide prediction model for effective flood prevention planning. Associate Professor Somjet reflected on the concerns being raised over NASA's recent request for permission to use U-Tapao Airport as a base to conduct atmospheric studies. So you're saying that we need the help of NASA because you're the one who signed this.
Nothing hidden. I signed this, Mr. Border here. We also say that we want to investigate 3 layers of the whole space. 1 is a ground level, 2 is the airborne levels, which you need airport. You need airplanes
Right.
to fly. But at that time, we don't describe any airport and airplane. And 3 is the satellite, what we call the space technology.
But then that's also something that related to politics. A lot of people worry that.
Well, whatever people concern and worry, that's a good thing, nothing wrong with that. So any items, any area, any elements that you worry, your own rights and prerogatives to go and investigate, monitor together for mutual benefit. That's perfect, nothing wrong with that.
The leaders of the Red Shirt Group, the families of those who died during the 2010 political unrest, as well as the Red Shirt's lawyer, have arrived at The Hague in the Netherlands to appear at the International Court to help the court's investigation into how the opposite government dispersed that protest during the 2010 political unrest. Meanwhile, today, Jatuporn Phompan, key leader of the Red Shirts, submitted a letter to the Constitution Court asking for an explanation for the revocation of his bail. Today, Gistda Thawan said Red Shirt leader Payao Akhat, mother of the nurse who died during 2010 uprising, and Karom Pon Plon Klang, the Red Shirt's lawyer, arrived at The Hague to meet Robert Amsterdam, lawyer for Thaksin Shinawatra, and to go to the International Criminal Court to tell the international community via the court about the 2006 coup d'etat and the 2010 political unrest during opposite government. Meanwhile, Jatuporn Phompan, former party list MP of the Pheu Thai party, has submitted the letter asking whether the Constitution Court had authority to propose the criminal court revoke his bail while being held on a terrorism charge. He claims that the Constitution Court has no authority to do so, adding that it has violated his freedom, while he insisted that his speech in Parliament on June 4th and 8th was not intended to encourage people to threaten the Constitution Court. Additionally, he is preparing to discuss with legal advisor the impartiality of the Supreme Court's President and the Criminal Court's Director General. Following an across-the-board reduction of credit rating on multiple banks worldwide, the Deputy Prime Minister has called a meeting of 9 economy-related ministries tomorrow to discuss measures for handling the Eurozone debt crisis. Here's more.
Anusorn Iem-Saad, Deputy Government Spokesperson, revealed that at the Cabinet meeting today, Kittirat Naranong, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, expressed worries over the debt-laden Eurozone, particularly after Moody's Investor Service announced credit rating reductions on multiple banks worldwide. As this might jeopardize the Thai economy, Kittirat hastened to arrange a meeting with 9 economy-related ministries tomorrow to assess the situation and prepare measures for handling the Euro debt crisis. Additionally, today's Cabinet meeting also approved the setting up of 3 subcommittees to report to the Cabinet's economic team on a daily and weekly basis to monitor the Eurozone crisis impact closely, especially its effects on exports, which have already plummeted by 3.5%.
Police Region 8 had to deploy over 200 police officers in and out of uniform to prevent a furious public from beating up the 2 men suspected of killing an Australian tourist last Wednesday night. The authorities escorted the 2 men to the scene of the crime to reenact the tragedy. Meanwhile, the private sector expressed concerns over the resort's island's image and urged stiffer security measures. The murder of an Australian tourist, Michelle Smith, in Phuket last Wednesday night has inevitably damaged the reputation of the resort island. The victim, who was a representative of 10 tour agencies in Perth, was surveying tourist attractions in Thailand for sales presentations. Additionally, an article that frames Phuket as one of the world's most dangerous tourist destinations in a Singapore's newspaper further aggravates the island's image problems. The private sector expressed concerns that this will put a huge strain on local businesses in the long run if the government fails to provide clear remedies. Short-term measures by local authorities include tightened security by increasing the number of security guards on duty and the setting up of checkpoints. In the long run, however, it was proposed that the government invest over 2 billion baht to procuring more CCTV cameras to be installed at critical venues. even though there are currently 30,000 CCTV cameras on Phuket Island. Some hotspots, such as roads connecting one tourist venue to another, remaining uncovered by such security monitoring devices. Next year, 19 local administrations in Phuket will meet to deliberate over the allocation of money towards CCTV procurement. A tighter security level in the resort island is particularly important as Thailand becomes more vulnerable to transnational crime. The Civil Court delayed an urgent hearing on the Foundation for Consumer request for an injunction order GMM Grammy to allow all channels to air the remaining Euro 2012 matches due to objections from the defendant. The Foundation contends that this move by GMM Grammy is intended to prolong the lawsuit until the football tournament ends. An urgent hearing on the Foundation for Consumers complying for an injunction concerning the rights to broadcast Euro 2012 football tournament in Thailand was postponed today as GMM Grammy, the fourth defendant, filed objections to the civil court. The letter from the defendant claims the request cannot be agreed to, and agreeing to such a request will make them and other defendants violate the copyright law, which can make them liable for significant damages. The objection states that another suit against the Royal Thai Army or Radio and Television Channel 5 cannot be considered by the Court of Justice since the defendant is a public agency falling under the Administrative Court's jurisdiction. However, the Secretary General of the Foundation for Consumers, Sari Ong Somwang, insisted that this is a consumer rights case. However, the group is suing Channel 5 for their public service, which is not related to the administration. She concluded that the objection is just an attempt to extend the case until the football tournament ends next Monday. According to the most recent update, the court will be hearing the appeal once again tomorrow. Human rights groups are reporting that Chinese authorities have forced back into Myanmar some of the ethnic Kachin refugees who have fled across the border to escape civil war, and China is denying basic care to many of those who remain.
The Kachin conflict, which flared up in Myanmar in the middle of 2011 after a 17-year truce, has forced up to 10,000 people to seek refuge across the border in the southwestern Chinese province of Yunnan. Human Rights Watch said many of these people have little access to proper sanitation, shelter, healthcare or schools for their children. Others have been detained, refused entry to China, or even forced back into the conflict zone in their country. China's foreign ministry has denied the accusations and said the people were not refugees at all and that for safety reasons some people from Myanmar entered China to seek refuge with their friends and relatives, and after the clashes abated they returned to Myanmar. The Chinese also claim that while in China they were provided with help on humanitarian grounds. While China has strong business and trade ties with Myanmar, it has long looked with wariness at its poor and unstable southern neighbour, and has repeatedly called on the country to ensure stability along their vast and remote border. Hugh Adams, ThaiPBS.
The Meteorological Department is forecasting heavy rain in northern and southern provinces until July the 2nd due to the depression currently over Philippines. People in the north and south should be prepared for flash floods and landslides.
Somchai Baimuang, Deputy Director General of the Meteorological Department, indicated that the southwest monsoon over the Andaman Sea, Thailand and the Gulf of Thailand has strengthened, and that the low-pressure cell covers the coastal areas of Vietnam, so more rain and isolated heavy showers are likely in Thailand, especially on Thursday and Friday. Winds in the Andaman Sea and the upper Gulf of Thailand will be strengthening. He also urged the people in the north and south to be prepared for landslides and flash flooding.
Particularly in the people who live in risky area in northern part of the west side of Thailand will be not so panic, will be very prepared themselves. And another thing is please check the weather forecast every 6 hours after that you set.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Hydro and Agroinformatics Institute says that despite having not been directly affected by the depression in Philippines, the weather map indicates that heavy rains are likely in Thailand, especially in north and south, adding that there will also be more rain across 60% of Bangkok this week, especially in the evening. Kan Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kun Gan-gong, and that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. Thank you for watching. I'm Rung Tip Chonapalai. สวัสดีค่ะ